This watch just arrived. I bought this on eBay about 10 days ago, and it's only just arrived. There was a problem with the postage. The chap's on holiday, and I didn't think it was going to arrive. He sent it first class signed for, but there was no tracking number. But he had good feedback, so I wasn't too worried. I thought it's going to come in, or at least I'll get my money back. Anyway, it's an Inventic, hang on, so what is this? Inventic, I think that's how you pronounce it, an Inventic mechanical watch. It's Swiss movement, Swiss made, 1970s, real chunky thing. I paid just under £10 for this. We've got a stainless steel back, screw down back. And this is the condition of it as it's arrived. I've literally just opened up the box. What I have done is set the time, and it's working. It was described as working for a short while and then stopping. Well, I've given it a wind. I've managed to set the date and the day. A little bit tricky. Didn't happen at first, but I managed to find the click and moving the crown backwards or forwards. I can't even remember how I did it, but I managed to set those, but it was a little bit tricky. And as you can see, it's still working, and it's keeping good time for the 15 minutes it's been running. It's got a bit of a crack on the crystal there, as you can see, and quite a few scratches. There's not much I can do with this. I'm going to give it a good clean up. I'll try to clean the crystal up a little bit more, but I'm not going to be able to get this. You can see this crack. I thought it just might be a scratch, but that is a bit of a crack. But I might be able to remove some of these smaller scratches and just give it a general tidy up. The strap itself is a little bit grotty, so the next thing I'm going to do is use my spring bar tool, hopefully get this strap off and give that a good clean in some warm soapy water. Hopefully it doesn't fall to bits, but it feels quite stiff, but it feels of relatively good quality. So I think we're going to keep this original, which I imagine is the original strap, with it, because that would be a nice thing to do. And I think once that's cleaned up, it will probably look nice, and it will have the patina that goes with the rest of the watch. Now, I quite like these kind of chunky 1970s metal watches. It's a 17 jewel, by the way. We'll take the back off and have a look at the movement as well. It's got some really lovely blue indices and a blue second hand that you can see ticking along there. Really stands out nicely. I think you can probably see that in the camera. I really love the dial. It's such a shame about the damaged crystal. But again, I think we'll see, won't we? I'll give it a clean up. And hopefully, for my £10, it won't look too bad. Now, the thing is, of course, is it going to carry on working? He said it stops after a while. I'm seeing that it's working, so I don't know what's going on there. So time will tell on that one. Yeah, it's a real nice chunk of metal. I don't even want to put it on at the moment until I've cleaned it up, because that strap is a little bit grotty. I feel a bit icky putting it on. I'm funny about these things. I want to get this cleaned up a bit before I try it on. So we're not going to go too heavy on the clean, just a basic clean up, bit of a polish up, clean this strap up, see what we got. Okay, so I'll pause, and then in a second you will see it after I've spent 10-15 minutes giving it a bit of a clean up. Okay, so I've given it a bit of a clean up. I managed to get the crystal a little bit better. The crystal, it's got like a little bit of a gap around the border. It doesn't fit 100%. So I wonder if it's had a replacement one in the past that hasn't been exactly perfect. I mean, it's not that bad, but there's a little bit of a gap here. But using a bit of whitening toothpaste, a little bit of Windoline as well, lots of polishing, it's definitely come up better. There is still a little bit of misting, or a bit of moisture's got in. I was using some jewellery cleaner, which I've got, which is a really good thing to get the metal nice and clean, gets off all the grease and stuff like that. And it's just got, I dip it in like a toothbrush and just apply it with that. But even with that, I've probably managed to get a little bit of moisture. So that's going to dry out and that will look a lot clearer. The strap I got off, one of the pins I had to break off, I just couldn't get that off. So I've replaced that spring bar, and the other one is original. I've put that back, that came off okay. As you can see, the case has come up pretty nice, just literally using that jewellery cleaner solution, a toothbrush, and then just a little bit of a kind of light polish up, because it's got brushed, kind of like a brushed stainless steel look to it. So we don't want to go too hard because we don't want to polish it flat, as it's meant to have a bit of a brushed stainless steel. The strap itself has come up pretty well. It's probably still a touch damp, but it's pretty much dry now. All the grime came off. Used basically warm water with some washing up liquid in a bowl, just soaked it, and then used a toothbrush to kind of scrub it a little bit, and quite a lot of brown dirt came out of there. But now it's looking a lot better. So before I put it on to show you what it looks like, by the way, this is a 35mm across, so it's not a bad size watch. Let's get the back off and I'll show you the movement. Not going the wrong way. Two ways to do something. You can absolutely guarantee I'm going to wind it the wrong way first. Too much. I've already had this back off to have a quick look, but I put it back on again. So I know it's all good. The watch is still working. It's still keeping good time. So him saying it stops after a while, I'm not quite sure why, because it seems to be working so far very well. I mean, it might be that it's been sat in a drawer for a long time, and he tried it and it stopped after a while. Sometimes, a bit like a car, it just needs to run. But now it's run for a while, perhaps it'll be okay. Like anything, if you leave it too long, the delicate cogs and whatnot perhaps can seize up slightly. It wouldn't take much for the balance wheel to stop. It doesn't take much, just a few almost microscopic bits of dirt and things like that. But it seems to be running quite well now, so whatever was holding the watch up maybe has freed itself and it's working. So we'll see. We'll see how long it works for. Well, I gave it a wind, and as I say, it's working, it's keeping good time. So that is the movement there. Looks like quite a simple basic movement compared to some other watches that I've seen, but at the same time it's not too bad. Looks in good shape. Yeah, 17 joules, but it's certainly not high end, but at the same time it's not as cheap as some movements I've seen in some of these 1970s watches. It's got like a little bit more quality. It's kind of like a medium quality, I would call this one. not knowing what I'm talking about, literally just looking at it. Okay, so I'll put the back on and we'll have a look at it on the wrist. Now, is this actually catching? What's going on? Seems to be spinning a lot. No, hang on, we're tightening up. Okay, that should do it. The case come up quite nicely. Again, just with that jewellery cleaner and a little bit of a buff up. Hopefully this misting will clear pretty soon. But I haven't got time to wait because the England game's on later. So I wanted to get this video done and uploaded. Okay. Take off my new Pagani GMT, which I've been wearing basically since I bought it this week. Oh, knock the phone over. So this is my 6.5 inch wrist with this 35mm watch. And straight away the strap feels a lot softer than it did when I first picked it up. Since I've given it a bit of a clean, it seems to have softened it up a bit. Yeah, it's a pity about the crack on the crystal, but it's pretty good looking. I'm just going to see if I can unsteam it and come back without it unsteamed. I know a quick trick. And we're back. Oh, it steams. Back again. A bit more wafting around in the air with the back off. Seems to have done the trick. There may still be a little bit of moisture in there, but I think that's got 98% of it. And now you can see the beautiful blue indices, which really look great. I just love the dial on this watch. Very 1970s executive type look about it, with a bit of flair with the blue. Kind of like an eggshell blue. Well, fingers crossed that carries on working, because that's been a good half an hour or so now and it's working perfectly. It's keeping good time. It's a couple of minutes back because I pulled out the crown while I was trying to demist it, but it is keeping good time. So I need to reset that back to the correct time. Before I set the time, I'm just moved the minute hand off of the logo, so you can see the Inventic logo, which has got some kind of, I don't know what you call that. It's almost like a NATO star or something. Very cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, you don't see that on modern watches. That is a style of the 70s. Really good. set that back to the correct time. So now I've got the day wrong. It was a bit awkward trying to set the day and date. It's definitely got a slight issue. Well, I don't know if it's an issue, but trying to find that sweet spot where you just pull it out to the right. Okay, so that is, oh, it's kind of turning both, isn't it? And with a 10th, then it's going to change the day. Time is 6 minutes past 5. Well, that seems to have done it. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to adjust the day and the date, but with a bit of mucking around, I managed to do it. Yeah, so I think for £10, that wasn't a bad buy. I don't suppose it's worth a fortune, but it certainly looks the part. Hopefully it works for longer than a couple of hours. I think I will actually wear this. Even the buckle came up quite nicely. It's got good quality buckle loops. That's why I've kept the strap on there. It's pretty good quality. I like that. I'm fascinated with these old, especially like 1970s, where they went a bit more bolder with the shapes. This kind of TV kind of shape screen. Yeah, it's a pretty cool watch that you do not see people wearing. So I'm hoping that will work, carry on working, so I will definitely wear this from time to time. This is definitely one I'd wear, not just keep it in my collection. I'm not too worried about the crack on the crystal. That's not too much of an issue. One less thing to worry about. Anyway, guys, I thought you might be interested in that groovy 1970s watch there. Take care.